Welcome to the Profit Answer Man, Thomas Ryan. It's great to have you join us today.
Rocky, thank you so much for having me. I
Can
feel like I
you?
learned something already.
We had a wonderful conversation before we hit record, which is, one of these days we'll have to start publishing that for everyone else to hear. We'll get to it eventually. Can you share a little bit about yourself and your business?
Sure. So I'm the founder of Bigly Sales. Bigly Sales is an AI platform where we use AI agents. So you can have autoresponders for your email. You can do scheduling for email or text message. We're working on calls right now. We're going to have that live in March to have an AI call center to be able to do any sort of form fill, schedule any sort of appointment, um, you know, insurance, you name it, legal, right? Instead of a paralegal doing it or an insurance rep. And, anyway, that's what I'm working on.
Cool. I love AI. We have made it a big part of how I get stuff done and how I'm able to do things. It actually helps a lot with the podcast as well. And I talked to all of my clients about it, and I think a lot of them didn't realize what was possible, how fast you could do it. And honestly, a lot of the AI that's out there right now, you can pay to use it, but you also get it for free.
Yeah.
Um, and if you're just beginning, free AI is good enough in my word.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of tools and it depends on what you're doing. So I can go through a couple of them if that works for you.
Yeah, let's go through a couple.
So, of course, there's the LLMs, right? These are large language models. It'll write anything that you want. So I'll give you a way that we're using it. We're using it for SEO, right? We have two professional writers on staff. They're offshore, and they're putting out about 600 articles a month right now. Now, if you took us back a year ago, that number might be 20 or 15. Right. So the amount of output that we're able to get using the LLMs is just insane for the $20 a month. If I wanted to hire a writer here, right? If you want to hire one of the SEO firms that's going to come in and do this for you, they all are like, I'm going to write you 8 great articles with all the right keywords that you need for your business, and we're going to charge you $2,500 a month. And I've talked to about 10 of them. Every one of them gave me the exact same pitch. Maybe they're charging $2,000 a month. Maybe they're charging $3,000 a month. Well, I have 600 articles coming out and we're covering the gambit with, for less cost than these guys would charge me.
So I know some of these guys, and what they will say is the quality of the writing is not the same.
The quality of the writing is spectacular. I have the people, they get the document in and they edit it. And that's why we don't do 1,000 a day. That's why it's only 600 a month, because we have someone come in, look at it, edit it, okay, we're going to do a 1,000-word article, we're going to do a 500-word article, we're going to do a 2,000-word article, whatever it is. They edit it, they proofread it, they go through it, they change some things that they feel need to be changed, and they get that out the door.
So let's talk about what a couple are, because I don't even know if people know what's out there. Everyone, I think, has hopefully heard of ChatGPT.
Yep.
That's one of the big ones. I like Claude.ai, and I like Claude because it tends to be a little bit better on creating the social media stuff. So I use it for our social media posts for my podcasts and so forth. Plus, what I love about Claude that chat will not do for me is I can take the entire transcript of this podcast up, like I've got some that are an hour long plus, and I throw it into Claude and it writes my blog post for me.
Yeah.
Chat's got limits on what it'll write. Now, Google's got one called Bard, and not that long ago I read an article on Bard, and they said Bard tends to be more I don't know what the way to a little bit more human or a little bit more relatable to people. Like it talks more like people might talk than some of the others. I don't know if that's true, not true. They showed examples and it did look better on Bard. Actually, I just had to write something today for a talk I'm doing. And what I did was I went to all three of them. and I got different parts from different parts, and I played around, and I took 2 sentences from here and a thing from here and a thing from there. The point is, in 10 or 15 minutes, I had something written that normally I'd bang my head against the wall for a couple hours and it would suck. Now I'm like, oh, I even want to go listen to me do that.
Yeah, and then you can just go in and you can edit it afterwards and change this, change that, and make it your own. But it saves you so much time. It saves you 90% of the time. So yeah, I love Claude. I think Claude is great. We use that for our tweets. So ChatGPT, for whatever reason, has trouble, and we use it for texts, like for text messages for sure. Because you want to be 160 characters or less on a text message, or 320 characters, right? Because every time you go over the an additional 160 characters, they charge you another from the phone company. So, we want to be careful with how long those are. And ChatGPT would write something that was 500, 600, 1,000 characters. And we'd say, no, it's got to be 160 characters, or it's got to be 319 characters at max. And it just couldn't do it. So all of this stuff, they're working on it. It's changing, and it's getting better so fast that I'm sure they'll have this and every other problem with it solved over the next year. But that's where we are today.
One of the cool things I did with chat allowed me to build my own model. In other words, I could go in and say, hey, I want a model and I want you to put all these experts in my model and do it this particular way. And then someone actually shared a prompt with me that I put in there. And along with actually, someone shared a couple of different things. So I built my chat to behave the way I want it to. And basically, when I go into my chat, it says, hey, how can I help you today, Rocky? And I start typing and it starts defining and bringing in more experts. And it's almost having a conversation with me quite well. And I'm just shocked and amazed at how fast things can go. And like I said, we use Claude as well, and really thrilled with that. So I think, just
And
for answering an average email, like you can go pop an email in there and go, hey, I need to write a response, and this is kind of what I want to say. Can you give it to me? And it comes back with some great responses.
so what we did is we actually set up an autoresponder where you can take all your company information, right? We put it into a vector database, which just means we structure the data a little bit, right? What's your warranty? What's your pricing? What's your, product lines? What's your history, right? So you can put in all of those things, and then it will auto respond to any question that someone asks. So someone sends a question, a support question, a question about the business, a question about whatever, and it will auto respond to that question with all of your business information. So you don't have to do any of that work. And we can do that via text. We can do that via email. Right now we're linking it to all the socials and stuff like that as well. So we're going to have this for, your Facebook and your Instagram and your, Twitter and, your YouTube, whatever else that you're using. So anytime someone writes a question or a comment or whatever, and if you want them to do a certain behavior, right, if we're trying to push them to do a phone call, to call your sales office and call your call center, we'll just prompt it to do that, right? So we'll say, hey, we want you to call. Or if we're trying to get them to book a meeting, we'll have it go back and forth and schedule that meeting with them and say, okay, we can get you that price for your free in-home, estimate. What's your availability to get that done this week? And it'll go back and forth and negotiate with the guy. What does your calendar look like tomorrow? Guy goes, oh, I don't have any time tomorrow. How about Friday? And the guy goes, yeah, I can do it anytime in the afternoon. So, okay, we got 2, 4, and 6 available. What's best for you? And the guy goes 4 and says, great. Sends out the appointment reminder, sends it to both parties, right? So you actually know that it set this up for you. And, that's that, right? So we get it to do all of the work. That's really what our whole business is based around, those AI agents to book and schedule this. So you don't lose leads, number one.
And I think, I see this a lot in the trades, right? The phone call comes in, the plumber's out doing plumbing, the electrician's out doing electrical. They're not answering their phone. They can't afford somebody sit in the office to answer the phone. It just doesn't make economic sense until they hit a certain size, and they don't get back to people. In this case, all of that stuff just gets done through AI automatically, and the appointments just show up on the guy's calendar or the gal's calendar.
Yeah, and one of the big spaces we're doing this for, our early, we're going vertical by vertical. So one of the first verticals that we're doing that we're spending a lot of time on right now is home services, for exactly that reason. If you need, if you have a roof leak, if you have a plumbing problem, if you are looking to remodel something, right, you don't want to miss that phone call. So that's one of the first areas that we're doing. We're also doing a lot of work with insurance and legal. So we're going to be doing everything, but that's really where we've decided to focus early on.
So let's kind of take a step back then. Can you like integrate, and do you work with, say, if I've got a Facebook ad or a Google ad that's out there?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So one of the biggest things I see is a lot of money wasted on social media advertising. And part of
Super
it
easy to
is,
lose at social media. I mean, it's very easy to get social media wrong.
so how do we get social media right?
So I can tell you, I struggled with this too. I think a lot of people have struggled. First, it depends which ones you were talking about. Are you talking about Google and Face? Are you talking about Google? Are you talking about Facebook or Instagram? Are you talking about something different?
Let's stick to Google and Facebook, and I understand that they're different and they work differently.
Yeah.
So for Google, it's usually right. I'm looking roofer near me.
Yeah. So for Google, you want to make sure you have all those long tail keywords in there. And I think you need some sort of security software on Google. If you're going to be spending a couple grand a month on Google, I think you need some security software. You want to be able to block IPs of your competitors. So if someone has clicked on your ad 50 times, right, what some guys will do is they'll say, okay, who are the other 10 roofers in my area? And they go in and they're going to click each of their ads 100 times each day, right? Why do they do that? To waste your budget. So they know that you're only spending $100 a day or $200 a day on your ad campaigns. They click it 10 times. Google doesn't pick up on it. And now all of a sudden your entire budget is gone. So now their ad goes to the top of the pile.
How often does that happen?
All the time. So what you can do is you can set up some software that sits on there that says, hey, we're only going to allow someone to click on an ad, 3 times in a week, 5 times in a week, or 5 times in a month, or whatever you want to do. And that that will deal with your local competition trying to do something to you. The next thing we had, what killed us initially, is we started getting a lot of data center traffic. All right. So we were actually getting traffic sent to us from an Amazon data center. And, we couldn't figure out what was going on. I'm spending $50 a day, $50 a day, $50 a day. All of a sudden, our ad spend goes to $500 a day. Our conversions drop to 0. Right. So this happens for about a week. And we say, what the, come on, what's going on here? Right. I'm burning cash. And we saw that all the traffic was coming from Ashburn, Virginia, and Moses Lake, Idaho, and Cheyenne, Wyoming. I'm going, these are little places. What's going on? Well, what they all had in common is they all had an Amazon data center, right? They were all AWS data centers there. So what you can do is you can set up security software to block that. You can look for people who are using a cloned cell phone. You can look for people who are using a VPN. So you just set up one of these softwares to sit on whatever landing page you're doing. And if anything looks funny, you block it. And I would recommend that. If you're going to be spending a couple grand a month on ads, you should be blocking the bad actors that are out there.
Now, how is that different than, say, Facebook?
So Facebook, there's different issues that you have. So the first issue I had on Facebook is we had something with our logo at the beginning. We did this little animation of our logo. Well, as soon as someone sees our logo animation, we've lost them, right? Because you have 2 or 3 seconds to grab their attention on Facebook. And if you don't catch their attention in the first 3 seconds, they just scroll right past you, right? No one actually sees your ad long enough to get the message to buy whatever it is. right? And everyone has kind of learned to tune out advertising. So we'll oftentimes do something to grab someone's attention in the first 2 or 3 seconds, and then we'll go into our message. For the ads that we're running, we don't stay on any particular image for more than about 3 or 4 seconds. It's like 2, 3, 4 seconds, new image, new image, new image, right? To always keep stimulating the brain so people keep watching it. And then you can voice over whatever you want on top of that, but you got to be showing new images all the time. And then because a lot of people watch it on mute, you want to make sure that your whatever words you're saying, you actually use a caption tool to put those captions on there. And if you're like, I don't know how to do any of this stuff, I'm a plumber, right? Like, how am I going to do this? You can go to Fiverr, or you can go to Upwork or any of these companies and hire someone for 50 or $100, and they'll put that thing together for you, and it'll look spectacular.
You know what I do now? I go
But
to ChatGPT. I go, how do I do this? And Chat just lays it all out for
for
me.
anything,
If I wanted to, yeah, it's
for
amazing.
anything. But
Yeah.
if you need a video editor, you're trying to get a
Well, that's
video,
different. Yeah.
right? They'll put it together you for 50 or $100, right? And then if you don't like the video, you tell them to change it. And if you need a new one in a couple of weeks or in a couple of months, you do a new one. So, I mean, that's the big thing that I would do. And then you just test it. You see how many people are actually making it past 3 seconds. So if you go into Facebook, you can literally go from the click section to the performance, and you'll see how many people are making it halfway through your video, right? So if you showed this video to 1,000 people, are 500 getting halfway through, or are two, right? And how many are actually getting past that first 3 seconds? They literally have it cordoned off to say how many made it past the first 3 seconds. Because if your first 3 seconds is boring, they're just going to flip right past it. So we did a little animation. Someone's like, oh, this is an ad. Keep going, right? And no one actually got past the animation that we did at the beginning. So, I mean, there's a pretty steep learning curve with a lot of this stuff.
One of the things you mentioned to me before we hit record was if someone comes to one of your landing pages, you can tell me who they are and know everything about them.
Yeah, so we have an identity management solution that sits on there. So we actually built our own landing page generator. So we have AI actually generate all the text, generate the images, and then if you don't like something, again, you can go in and you can edit it. But now you're spending 5 or 10 minutes editing instead of spending, I don't know how long it takes to build a Wix page or to build a Squarespace page or something, but you're talking hours, right? And if you're not an expert in it, which, none of us are, you might never be able to figure it out. So this, you can put in the basic information. It'll spit something out that looks pretty good, and then you can go and you can edit it a little bit and put up a whole landing page in 5 minutes for whatever type of business you have. If you're doing an event, you can spin up an event in 5 minutes. So anyway, we built that whole CMS. But one of the things that we did on there is, hold on one second. Sorry about that. My 5-year-old walked in here.
It's like that clip back in COVID. Remember where the news anchor had that?
Too funny. So where was I? So we have an identity management solution that sits on top of all the pages that we build, where we can literally go and it will tell us about 50% of the people who show up at the page. It will give us their name, it'll give us their email, it'll give us their cell phone, it'll give us their address, it'll give us, all of their relevant information. And, then we can automate our communications to those people.
So they're not giving you any of this information. They're just coming to your landing page.
Yeah, as soon as they hit the page, we can grab most of that stuff. Now, obviously, for the way the TCPA rules work, right, you're allowed to contact them one time if it's a consumer. If it's a business, you can do whatever the hell you want, right? But if it's a consumer, you're allowed one contact, one phone call or one text message to that person unless they give you consent during that call. And if you have consent, then you can talk to them as much as you want.
And I just want to be clear. The people come to the landing page. They don't type a single thing and you know who they are.
Correct.
Okay. I just wanted that to sink in.
I have their cell phone, and I have their cell phone, and I have their email, and I have their address. Right? So if I wanted to mail them something, I can mail them something. I can email them something. I can text them. I can call them. However I want to try to reach out to that person.
If a business owner wanted to set this up with you, what does this cost? Like, how expensive is this?
So the landing page builder is free. We're not charging for the landing page builder right now.
Okay.
It's because I know if they're using the landing page builder, they're going to want to automate communications.
Okay.
So
And what about capturing all that information then?
yeah, we capture it automatically.
Okay.
So then we could set them up with a Bigly account, and we could show them all the information, and they can reach out to those folks and automate the entire process.
So let's talk about that. Somebody comes to the site, then what happens? Like, if they give you information, or like, what does the AI do to make that whole process faster and easier?
Yeah, so if someone actually gives us their information, they put in their name and their phone number. What the AI is going to start doing is going to start texting them, and it's going to say, "Hey, I'm Tom. I'm your sales assistant. What is your availability for an in-home consultation, or what is your availability to go through your insurance, or for whatever business it is?" So if we're doing it for a solar company, we put in all the solar information. If we're doing it for a roofing company, we put in all the roofing information. If we're doing it for a siding company, for a bathroom remodeler, a kitchen remodeler, we'll put in all that information. We'll feed it in there, and then it can literally answer any question about the company, right? So all of that will be sitting there in a document that it can access and answer any questions they have, and then it will push them to schedule a call. They'll be like, "Hey, what's it going to cost for me to do a kitchen? It's 8 feet by 8 feet." And he said, that's going to depend on the type of materials that you're using. We have a free in-home estimate program. What's your schedule look like for this week? And we'll come over and I'll give you a detailed quote. And it'll keep following up with them until they either book that appointment or say stop.
So here's what I want people to
We're going to
think.
follow up for 3 months again because of the TCPA rules, right? It's we're by the book, right? You have to be with the AI. So
No, I understand that. But here is kind of what my point was, though. If I'm in town and I've got a business and I don't have this, and my competitor does, they're probably going to eat my lunch with traffic coming into them. And you mentioned something before we hit record about the drop off in what it looks like to convert them to an appointment depending on time.
yeah, your conversion rate is going to drop by the minute. Your conversion rate drops in minutes, not in hours, right? So to get that through people's heads, if you wait 10 minutes, your conversion rate is going to be lower than if you wait 1 minute. If you wait over an hour, your conversion rate is going to be 90 to 95% lower, depending on what you're selling. A lot of times people have moved on, right? If you're talking in the trades, like you were saying before, they've already hired a plumber. They've already hired the person to come over to fix their leak. They've already hired the person to fix their problem because they're calling oftentimes because of an emergency. So as soon as the first person picks up and says, "Yeah, I'm in, I can help," you've lost, right? So even if you follow up with that guy later that day or the next day, it's over. So that's what the AI is set to do, to make sure that you're the first one who responds. That's the entire point of the business, to make sure that you're first.
And again, just to build this all out, to implement it, we're not talking a lot of money, are we?
No, not at all. Again, we're focusing on certain verticals because for me, every time we have a new client, it takes us some time and some effort to get everything set up. But if I'm in a particular vertical, it's very easy. So we can do the same qualifying questions for everyone, and we can actually have it ask qualifying questions, right? Do you own your home? Right? Are you over 65? Right? Do you have a liquid net worth of $50,000? How many children do you have? Whatever the questions might be for whatever it is they're selling, be it an insurance product or a legal product, or did you go to the hospital after your accident? Did you report your accident to the police? Right? We can ask whatever questions we want, and we can either rule them out based on that, or we can pass them through to schedule that appointment, or tell them, "Hey, I can help. Call me right now." And then we have a system where you can see all the stuff, or just anything you want to see is saved in there. easy to pull up a report on.
And you probably also have all the metrics of everything that occurred. And you can actually probably, if you've built a good system, figure out, okay, 10 people came to my website and I got 3 sales from those 10 people.
100%. You can track everything.
And I think that's important. That's one of the biggest things I think a lot of people struggle with is the ability to even know the answers to those questions. And here, you're pretty much handing it to them.
Data's fuzzy. I mean, everyone's like, oh, just look at the data. If you ever try to look at data, data is sloppy and fuzzy, and you know, you have to define what you're measuring, and a lot of people don't define it. So you'll ask 2 people the same question, they'll give you 2 different answers, and they're both right. You know,
I
we're
have these
both wrong.
glasses.
We're both wrong. What's
I
that?
have these glasses that I look at data with, and it makes them clear as day to me. I get to see it. I see the anomalies and the issues and the things that generate the questions to have the next conversation of, well, how do we fix this? How do we improve it? How do we make it better? So at the end of the day, we're all about being profitable.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of what you're talking about can help business owners to be more profitable. A, generating sales. B, responding to potential clients without spending a ton of money.
Yep.
C, getting things booked in and moving. And then also is helping you to understand, and we really haven't talked, but you could run probably 8 different ads and see which ad works, correct?
Oh yeah, I mean that's what you should be doing. And in Facebook will tell you that, or Google will tell you that. You can pull up your, you know, I mean, I think in Google we're going to have 100,000 different keywords that we have running. You'll be able to see what you have as a conversion rate on all of them. You can put a UTM on there, track that back. So we're helping some people with that stuff as well.
And so there's always this question like, how'd you find us? And people are like, oh, I think I looked on the internet, right? But the reality is you actually have the ability to say, oh, they found you here and they
down to the
came
ad
this
set,
way.
down to the ad, right? You can have it, this person came at this time from this advertisement that we ran, and you know, it took us this long to talk to them with our system. It's, you know, 1 minute, but right, and we called them after a minute, and you know, this is the entire process. So yeah,
Including
anyone sophisticated is doing that.
including the scheduling. So nobody even has to talk to anybody.
Yeah, exactly. And what we're working on right now is the AI call center to actually be able to send them a text and then say, hey, our agent's calling you in a minute, and be able to handle all of this information over the phone as well. So, especially for older people. You know,
So
younger
they're
people like texts, older people like the phone.
so the AI is actually going to talk to them.
The AI is going to talk to them. So there's a cool tool we use called 11 Labs, and we can clone any voice. I can clone your voice. I can clone Barack Obama's voice. I can clone Donald Trump's voice. You know, I can clone James Earl Jones' voice. Whoever it is, as long as there's about 10 or 20 seconds of them talking, you can clone their voice. And then you can manipulate it, you can change it, you can blend it with another voice, you can make it deeper, you can make it sweeter, you know. So if you think Hugh Grant is who you want to be the voice of your company, but he sounds a little too feminine, you want it to be a little deeper, right? You can go, or Sir Laurence Olivier or whoever, you can go and just change it a little bit and make that the voice that you have for your conversations. And you can do that for any of your Google video or Facebook videos, I should say. You can, any of the ads that you're making. I mean, it's just unbelievable the sort of things that you can do with that right now. And again, that's another service that's 10 or 20 bucks a month, right? And you know, and you can do an unlimited amount of things with it. A couple of the other ones, since this was your initial question, I'll answer that. Have you played around with Midjourney at all?
I know of Midjourney. I have not played with Midjourney.
So I could screw up a stick figure. With this, I can make a picture that looks like it belongs in the Louvre, and it can do it in about 10 or 15 seconds. That I give it a prompt, and then it gives me 4 different options, and I can choose whatever I want. So we're using this for, you know, showing again like kitchens and bathrooms and houses and you can't even tell it's AI most of the time, right? You say I want it to be photorealistic. You can see the hairs on your head. You can see eyelashes. You can see pimples. I mean, you know, it's unbelievable how real this stuff looks. And you can make it in seconds.
So what I used was Microsoft Bing has an image creator. It says it's from Designer. I don't know what it is, but I needed some pictures. And I
Yep.
went in there and literally in a minute, it made me my pictures.
Yeah, they have one in ChatGPT now as well. I don't think the pictures look as good as Midjourney. Midjourney, I think, is the best quality pictures. It probably understands the prompts a little better in ChatGPT. Sometimes it gets confused. Like I said, people fighting, gladiators fighting lions in the Colosseum, and it gave me lion gladiators one time, right? So like Thundercats. Yeah.
Do you know what's funny? That the biggest thing I think people struggle with AI, they don't know how to ask it for what they need. They don't know how to ask a detailed enough or clear enough question and give it the information they want to get the results. And it just amazes me that people struggle to have this conversation with the AI.
I think most people just haven't used it still. I think something like 80% of the people haven't used it. They think it's a tech project. This is like using Google, people. This is Google, right? I want to search something on Google. That's the complexity of using the LLMs. That's the complexity of using most of these tools, is about how hard it is to use Google. You write in what you want and it gives you the answer. If you're ever trying to do something technical and you're stuck, and used to be like, oh, I got to call some technical support guy and sit on hold for a half hour and have them try to fight through it, or I got to find a local technician or call Geek Squad. Don't do that anymore. Just give it a ChatGPT. ChatGPT is going to be able to solve it for you in 2 minutes. It's really stunning how quick and easy it is, particularly for technical stuff. Anything on a computer, it's phenomenal.
It is. It will actually write your code for you if you need it to write your code. It will.
I've done
I'll
that
be
too.
honest. I don't go to Google to ask questions anymore. I live on Excel. When I have a question on Excel, I go to chat. Chat tells me exactly how to do it with the functions. I can tell it to build it out and it makes it simple, which is creating a problem because people are no longer going to websites looking for answers because Google's done a horrible job of answering my question, unless my question is plumber near me,
Yeah, it's terrible.
or
It's just
pizza.
terrible these
Yeah, it's
days.
terrible. And so a lot of people are moving away, which is creating another problem for business. They spent $2,500 on all those blog posts and nobody's searching for their stuff anymore because ChatGPT will answer it without all the BS
Wait till
immediately.
ChatGPT starts running ads on there too. You know that's coming.
Or it's going to give the preferred answer.
I hope it doesn't do that. I hope it gives me an honest answer and then says, by the way, here's 2 or 3 people nearby that could help. Um, anyway, we'll see how they develop that. This is conjecture, what I'm saying there. They haven't announced that they're going to start running ads, but I would assume at some point, that puts them to that $1 trillion company range. And
It does.
quickly.
The world is changing fast. You either keep up or, and in the world of marketing, you really have to be able to do that. And I think for a lot of business owners, getting found is not easy. And so being able
No.
to build all these things out and to do it well is super important.
You're fighting irrelevance. The big thing that you're fighting is, you want people to know you exist. That's it. So that's the whole game, right? Right? When you're a small business, you're if you disappeared tomorrow, would anyone go looking for you? When you're a small business or a new business, anything you can do to kind of get on the map is valuable. Go ahead.
I was going to say, this makes it faster, easier, and less expensive.
Yeah. Oh, this is going to change the world more in the next 5 years than the internet has in the last 25. I mean, this is just going to change how people do business so much. It's going to be crazy.
It is. I am looking forward to the journey.
Yeah. Some of the other tools, have you played around with Phantom Buster for getting data into a spreadsheet, or Rose.ai, or any of those?
No.
You can go and take a web page that has 10,000 things on it and basically import every piece of data into an Excel spreadsheet. You tell it what it's looking for, and it goes and it grabs all the data off there and will scrape 5 or 10,000 pieces of information, stick it on a spreadsheet for you, and do that in 5 minutes.
So I have a question, because some of my clients do this. They need to update pricing.
Yep.
So it can go out to a particular website, look for, grab the pricing, update their spreadsheet, and then they can automatically run their proposals through that.
Yeah, you could absolutely grab all the data, right? So if you want to say, what are all the competing products on Amazon? Okay, show me all the different products, or the top ones, and you grab the 100 of them and have it grab all of that data, and it'll do it in a few seconds and put it all onto a spreadsheet for you. I mean,
Phenomenal.
and I forget what the cost is of this one. I think Rose is free. I want to ask my data person, because I have a girl who does this, but I think it's free, Rose, and the other one, again, 10, $20 a month. I mean, not quite free, but how much is your
That's
time worth?
nothing. Yeah, that is literally nothing. If people would like to, try some of this stuff out, work with you, what is the best way for them to find you?
Best way to reach me, biglysales.com, biglysales.com. And just reach out. We have a live salesperson there most of the time, where you click a
It's
button
not
and...
AI?
Nah, well, we have the AI too, but we also have a live salesperson, because a lot of people actually want to speak to someone in person. So we have a call like this that we're on, where you can see the person that you're talking to, and they'll go there and answer questions and show you the demo and show you how the product works, and be able to help you out.
I like it. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Rocky. I really appreciate it. This is so much fun.
Thanks for listening to this unedited video of the Profit Answer Man podcast. If you'd like to catch the full episode and learn more about what we do, check us out at profitcomesfirst.com. We also go through the Profit First book in each and every chapter in the beginning episodes of the podcast, so check those out as well. Thanks for listening, and here's to you having a more profitable and growing business.